Tonight, 5 persons killed, several others injured in Ibadan gas tanker accident. Morning after the disrupted Yoruba Nation rally in Lagos, police parade 49 agitators and says girl allegedly hit while stray bullet was not shot by the police. Federal government moves to repatriate Nigerian refugees in Niger Republic. And Philippines military plane crash kills at least 45 persons and dozens others survive. Plus sports news. We begin tonight from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where a gas truck accident has left at least 5 persons dead and several others injured at a popular herbs market at Bode area of the city. The accident, which occurred around 9 a.m., was said to have happened as a result of brake failure from the tanker, which was fully loaded with domestic gas. Rescue efforts by government agencies and bystanders yielded results as those injured have been moved to the hospital for treatment. Our correspondent, Bukola Oriowo, reports.
It's an unusual scene at the popular Bode markets in the heart of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The gas tanker accident leaves traders and other sympathizers in disarray. This woman is looking for her son. She describes him to those at the scene. They gave her hope that her son couldn't have been at the scene when the incident happened. Another woman lost all her goods to the accident, but grateful to be alive as it happened before her arrival. But the occupants of this tricycle and motorcycle were not so lucky. 5 were crushed on the road before the truck lodged into the market, crushing stalls and shops on its way.
The marrow that involved, that marrow, about 4 passengers were crushed. Before now, eventually entered the market. You can see that, in the course of entering the market, there's another bike that also stationed at the end of the side of the market here. He crossed that passenger on that bike as well before now entered the market.
Other responders also give account of rescue efforts so far.
On getting here, we discovered that there are some people that were affected, and we tried to recover them. We handed them over to a team of road safety, which conveyed them to the nearby hospital.
Eyewitness accounts say the truck laden with gas lost control some meters away from the market, and all they heard were people scampering to safety.
We heard people shouting to call attention to the tanker that had lost control around the market area and that many people were being killed. We can't say if it was due to bad driving or brake failure. I counted 10 people who died. That's not inclusive of those injured.
The combined effort of the police, fire service, road safety and traffic managers in the state has helped. As the truck has been evacuated, the gas tank itself is being handled with care to avoid an explosion in the densely populated area. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
The plight of Nigerian refugees seeking shelter in neighboring Niger Republic is a major concern for the federal government, and they are intensifying efforts to repatriate them, with the Borno State government playing the lead role to facilitate their return home. Governor Babagana Zulum, who just came back from Niger Republic, where he held bilateral talks over the repatriation of refugees, has also been receiving military brief on security situation in Malam Fatori.
The arrival of President Bazoum Mohamedou of Niger Republic to Diffa region of the country is met with celebrations. After acknowledging the Guard of Honor, the president makes his way out with the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, who is here on a special mission to hold bilateral talks on behalf of the Nigerian government over refugees residing in Diffa. An estimated 123,000 Nigerians dislodged from Malam Fatori and other northern Borno towns have been living in Diffa since 2014 after fleeing their communities over attacks by Boko Haram. Governor Zulum briefs the press afterwards The resolve of both countries is to plan an evacuation at the end of this year's farming season.
What we are doing now is to ensure IDPs are returned in a dignified manner. We shall do everything possible within the reach of the federal government of Nigeria and the Federal Republic of Niger to ensure the resettlement of people to their respective communities within the shortest possible time.
Back in Nigeria, the 68th Battalion of the Nigerian Army has been fighting off insurgents from Abadam, the only Borno town currently without any civilian. While the military welcomes the gradual return of civilians, the commanding officer offers a detailed brief about the peculiar security situation there and why the return of civilians may not be a good idea at the moment.
The presence of Boko Haram insurgents struggles within the Tumbus. And these Tumbus are bordering on our village. In our threat analysis, the next is rate of kidnapping, abduction, recruitment of the populace by the insurgents is imminent at this time. Still, the insurgents will use locals as spies. That cannot be overruled as we have some sympathizers, even among those than the dreaded returnees.
Damaged infrastructure, lack of potable water, and bad roads are some of the issues the visit revealed. Lawmakers representing Northern Borno at both local and federal levels, who have been vocal about the situation in Abadam, were part of the tour.
Abadam has been without population for the past 6 years. But alhamdulillah, you could see the multitude of the armed forces here present in Malfatri, and I'm happy to relay that Malfatri has never been defeated.
The Borno state government has charged the resettlement committee and the military with the smooth relocation of the conflict-affected people and ensure a successful reintegration into the society.
From Borno in the northeast, we move to the south-south state of Akwa Ibom, where gunmen have attacked a police station at Udung Oko Divisional Headquarters. The police public relations officer said in a statement that 3 officers sustained gunshot wounds during the attack, which happened last night, and they are currently receiving treatment. He explains that the situation would have been worse but for the gallant policemen on duty who repelled the attack. Meanwhile, police authorities in Edo State say they have engaged a team of kidnappers who intercepted a 14-seater bus along the Benin-Auchi Road today. The police officers, in collaboration with other security agencies and vigilante groups, reportedly combed the Igeduma Forest Reserve, where they engaged the kidnappers in a gun duel and succeeded in rescuing 9 kidnapped victims. The kidnappers are said to have escaped with gunshot wounds. Staying with security, and here in Lagos, the State Police Command says it is investigating the killing of a young girl allegedly by a police stray bullet during the Oodua Republic rally on Saturday. The State Police Commissioner says he will ensure they get to the root of the matter. Mr. Hakim Odumosun made the comments during the parade of 49 suspects arrested during the rally on Saturday.
It's the morning after the disrupted rally by Oodua Nation agitators, and Ojota, the rally ground, is back to its usual self. Police authorities in the state had said the rally was illegal, as it came at a time the state is still recovering from the damage incurred during the NSAS protest. Lined up here at the police headquarters, Ikeja, are suspects arrested at the rally ground and some exhibits found on them.
No Yoruba land. This belongs to a chieftaincy group.
The Commissioner of Police, Hakim Odumosu, explains that the suspects were arrested over their non-compliance to early warnings.
In curtailing their activities, they are potent threat to the security of the state. The command arrested 49 suspects with dangerous weapons, including arms, ammunition, axes, cutlasses, charms, and their vehicles, till they came into the state to foment trouble and endanger the peace of the command. The investigation is on. After the investigation, for thorough investigation and possible prosecution.
One of the suspects, however, debunks police claim.
When I wanted to alight, the first people I met stopped me, they check the vehicle and they say, oh, he's a king, because I'm having my crown on me. I'm having my crown on me. They stopped me, they said, oh, it's Cannabis. They checked the vehicle and they said we should go. Immediately after they said we should go, another set of people stopped us. When they stopped,
the pistol was found in your car.
Not in my car. My own is Jeep.
What of those items did they find in your car?
They didn't find any. They didn't find any. They didn't find any. And the Jeep, Forerunner.
Another major issue that has trailed the rally is the alleged killing of a 14-year-old girl by a police stray bullet, but the state police chief denies any involvement of his officers in the killing.
Either the lady, the girl or the lady in question was shot by the police or by any other person now, investigation will reveal out. The investigation of cases like that now is not what you just do on one page of newspaper or one day. Because you need to go there, you need to get in, and equally now, some investigation needs some forensic analysis too, which police will not do on a day. So whether it was a gunshot, whether it was a sharp object, the fact that the life has been lost, and what led to that one now will be unraveled through the investigation.
From here, the suspect moved to the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, Bansi Yaba, where they will face a street investigation and prosecution.
From Lagos to Kaduna State, where no fewer than 7 persons, some of them nursing mothers, have been abducted at the National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Center in Zaria. The gunmen suspected to be bandits kidnapped the victims from their quarters within the premises of the facility this morning. Sources told Channels Television that the assailants invaded the center and began shooting before kidnapping 2 males and 5 female staff of the center. The gunmen also attacked the Saye Divisional Police Headquarters, also in Zaria, and riddled a patrol vehicle with bullets. Meanwhile, the Anglican Bishop of Kaduna Diocese, Right Reverend Timothy Yahya, is asking the federal government to urgently declare a state of emergency in the nation's security sector and even recruit more youth into the armed forces. The cleric, who points out the need to select more youth across the country for enlistment into the armed forces, says the current number of personnel of the armed forces is not enough to deal with the emerging security challenges confronting different parts of the country. Bishop Yahya made the comments in Kaduna today.
The state of the nation, even at the national level, they have accepted the reality that it's an uneasy time for us. And therefore, I want us to work in various dimensions. Number one dimension, we must declare a state of emergency on the security of Nigeria. And when I say a state of emergency, I don't see it happening. We are supposed to now open depots for Nigerian army all over the country, recruiting in thousands, so that we can beat these men, because it's like the men that we have in the bush have outnumbered the number of security that we have. There must be a security emergency. Number two, our police recruitment should change. These criminals today are graduates, they are master's degree holders, and if we must beat them, the minimum requirement for recruitment into the Nigerian police force should be a national diploma or an NCE, so that we have sharper people, intelligent people that can be able to beat these modern criminals we have around. And finally, I want to say the economy of Nigeria is actually very, very sick. And we need to do something about it. Diversification is not talk with mouth.
Moving on to other stories, operators of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDDC, have arrested a Nigerian woman based in Brazil at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, with 100 pellets of cocaine concealed in her inner clothing and handbag. Miss Anita Ugochinyere Ogbonna, a mother of 3, was arrested on arrival in Abuja via Qatar Air from Sao Paulo, Brazil, through Doha. On interrogation, she claimed to have lost her husband 3 years ago, a situation which she says led her into trafficking of illicit drugs to raise money for the burial of her father, scheduled for July the 22nd in Imo State. Meanwhile, over 410 kilograms of assorted illicit drugs have been intercepted and seized by NDLEA operatives in Plateau and Kwara states. In part 2, after the break, we'll have more on the fight of illicit drugs by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Plus, over 1.4 million residents of Yobe State may face food crisis in the third quarter of this year. That's according to the Global Hunger Index report. And we will examine the impact of multilateral security collaboration in Nigeria's fight against insurgency. Our data analyst Babajide Ogusawo will be our guide. Join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. 5 persons killed, several others injured in Ibadan gas tanker accident. Morning after the disrupted Yoruba Nation rally in Lagos, police parade 49 agitators and says girl allegedly hit by stray bullet was not shot by the police. Federal government moves to repatriate Nigerian refugees in Niger Republic. And Philippines military plane crash kills at least 45 persons, dozens others survive. Still on the clampdown on illicit drugs, well, the NDDC is not backing down on its efforts to achieve this in the country, particularly cannabis. Now, the latest is the cutting and burning down of a cannabis sativa farm measuring over 22,000 hectares in Ugiegudu, Unumwode local government area of Edo State. Or the market value of the destroyed cannabis sativa farm is said to be worth hundreds of millions of naira. Our correspondent, Osaze Obaze, reports.
We leave Benin City en route to Ugiegudu in the Unumwode local government area of Edo State, about 35 kilometers from the Benin metropolis, where a cannabis sativa farm is marked for destruction by the Edo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDDC. On our way to the cannabis sativa farm, this young man is identified by a suspect, then is arrested and put on handcuffs. This is the house where 6 other suspects were arrested earlier. We arrive at a farm measuring 22,216.111 hectares. The officers and some hired hands get down to cutting and mutilating the cannabis sativa. These suspects insist they are only here as manual laborers.
Like both farm, now they can't catch me, but not be my own, be worker. 2221, now I come here.
The field supervisor of the drug law enforcement officers says Edo State is a high-risk area in cannabis cultivation and explains why the operation is taking place at this time of the day.
You all know that Edo State is a cannabis sativa producing state, and from our own end here, we are doing our best to make sure that it does not come out of the forest. You know, the drugs are expensive. They don't just put it there for you to come and pick it. They take the fire away to the forest, and they're always waiting to fight you anytime you come. That's why this operation is taking place in the daytime.
On the challenges being faced by the Edo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the officers say they are confident that things will soon turn out for the better.
We have operational vehicles challenge, and that is one of the biggest problems I think Angel is having to fight the drug war. But however, with the present chairman, he has seen into the problems that we're facing, and he's working tooth and nail to get us operational vehicles.
Officers and men of the Edo State Command of the NDDC done with the clearing of the cannabis sativa farm right here to Ugiegudu, Unumwode local government area. The high point of the event is the burning of heaps of cannabis sativa. Osaze Obaze, Channels Television News.
More than 1 million residents of Yobe State may be at the risk of flood crisis resulting from displacements of Boko Haram insurgents, flooding, crop failure, and effects of the COVID-19 pandemic during the third quarter of this year, 2021. This is contained in a biannual data analysis conducted by KEDA Harmonized Report 2021 in partnership with the United Nations agencies in Yobe State. The report recommends life-saving interventions of food assistance and unconditional cash transfer in order to curb the impending food challenge.
Nigeria is a nation of over 200 million population, with about 70% depending on agricultural activities, which contributes significantly to the gross domestic product of the country. But despite this, 29.2% of the population is at risk of hunger, according to the 2020 Global Hunger Index report. The situation prompted the Yobe State government and development partners to undertake CADA-harmonized biannual report of residents who may be affected by the food crisis in the state due to conflicts and food inflations.
The analysis is primarily to identify areas where they will be in need of food assistance, more especially during the lean period, where all the household food stuff will be depleted and people may not be opportune to have access to food in the market because of the increase in prices of food, and probably those households may likely end up with some malnutrition. And that was why we felt the analysis of the household level number to tell us where we need to respond appropriately.
The Food and Agriculture Organization, as well as World Food Program, having projected about 13 million people will suffer acute food insecurity in northern Nigeria, pledged to support Yobe State residents with more food assistance and implements so as to mitigate the challenge.
Currently, we are actually targeting much more beneficiaries within the state due to the increase in vulnerability. Between April and June, we've targeted over 500,000 more beneficiaries, and hopefully by August we will add additional more beneficiaries so that we don't fall into a food crisis in Yobe State.
We use this CH analysis to select the local governments and then the deserving communities so that we can give them these improved seats to upscale their food insecurity.
To the officials of the Ministry of Agriculture and the state, the report will serve as a guide in taking proactive measures.
With the CH activities, it will really guide not only the Ministry of Agriculture, but other sister ministries.
Providing security for farmers on their farms, provision of fortified seeds as well as fertilizer are key to ending food insecurity in the country, as farmers look forward to accessing their farms without the fear of insurgents.
No man is an island. Well, this popular phrase originated as far back as the 17th century. Well, this week, Nigeria's military chiefs met with their counterparts from Senegal and Pakistan. But then the question is, what should be expected from this new security maneuvers? Babajide Oguso, data scientist and information consultant, is right here to share insights on this development. Babajide, it's great to have you on the News at 10 again.
Good evening, Ayo.
All right, so let's get right into it. During the week, Nigeria played host to the chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee of Pakistan, General Nadeem Raza. Now, of course, it came as a big security news. I mean, one of the most talked about news during the week in terms of security. But then you ask yourself, why Pakistan? You know, what's this visit all about?
So why Pakistan? I'll explain that. But before I explain that, today is significant because it's exactly 4.5 decades past 2 centuries that the United States gained independence on this day. And that independence for them meant 3 things. It was freedom of expression, freedom of thoughts, and freedom of choice. Today is another good day for us to remember the freedom Nigerians are also fighting for, and that is the freedom from fear. And with respect to the freedom from fear, we've got bad news and good news. So let's start with the bad news. And if we take a look at the report from the Global Terrorism Database, the bad news is that among the top 10 most terrorized countries in Africa, Nigeria is #1 on that list. That is the list on the top 10 most terrorized countries in Africa. So
unbelievable.
In 2019, which is the last report, we're waiting for the audited report for 2020, there were 507 attacks in Nigeria. The next country is Somalia, and the third is Democratic Republic of Congo. The summary is, on that list, top 10 most terrorized countries in Africa, 2 of those countries are from West Africa, another 2 of those countries from the central region of Africa, and then we have 3 countries from West Africa and another 3 countries from East Africa. The summary is most of these countries are located from the western region of Africa and the eastern region of Africa. That is the bad news. All right, let's talk about the good news regarding why Pakistan. And if we understand how and what has happened in Pakistan in the last 10 years, in the last decade, it allows us to understand why these new military chiefs want to work with Pakistan. It shows that they are no longer just shooting with their hands. They are also now following the science and following the data. And if we take a look at what Pakistan has achieved regarding terrorism since 2010, it shows that there are a lot of improvements and things we need to learn from Pakistan. So it is a good move that the leader from Pakistan was here to share thoughts. And this is exactly the reason. In 2010, let's focus on this. There were 713 terrorist attacks in Pakistan. In that same year, there were only 63 terrorist attacks in Nigeria. Now look at what has happened between 2010 to 2019. Since 2013, terrorist attacks in Pakistan have been declining. From its peak of 2,215 terrorist attacks in 2013, each year has seen Pakistan make significant progress with regarding how it has reduced the effect of terror groups. And as at the end of 2019, Pakistan, there were only 362 terrorist attacks in Pakistan compared to 713 a decade ago. The summary, Pakistan has been able to reduce terrorism in their country by half. Look at Nigeria. In 2010, 63 terrorist attacks, and by 2018, Nigeria had overtaken Pakistan with the number of terrorist attacks. And now, looking at our figures compared to where we were in 2010, we've seen our figures have grown by a multiple of 8. Pakistan have been able to cut their own number of terrorist attacks by half. So the good news is we're learning from Pakistan, and we're willing to learn. And how has Pakistan been able to do this? They've used knowledge, they've used experience, and they've used assets. And those are the three fronts that the new military chiefs from Nigeria are saying they want to engage Pakistan to learn how they've been able to achieve it, and then also apply some of those knowledge and use the local approach to achieve greater success in Nigeria. So it's a good move. It's a good thinking.
A good one. Well, we really have to wrap this up as quickly as possible. But of course, we also had the leader of the Senegalese Armed Forces visiting Nigeria as well, Major General El Hadji Nyang. You ask yourself, are they also here to help Nigeria, or are they seeking help from Nigeria? That is one. And of course, how does this all pan out in the long run in terms of conducting research into how we deal with these things?
So this week we saw the leader from Senegal come in. A lot of people tried to question what was he doing in Nigeria, because Senegal's population is even less than Lagos. In terms of land area, Senegal is smaller than the northeastern region. But here's the reason why this is also another small but significant move from the Nigeria's military chiefs. Senegal shares borders with Niger. Sorry, Senegal shares borders with Mali. Mali shares borders with Niger, and Niger shares borders with Nigeria. Things are about to get worse in Mali because of ISIS. ISIS is now ISIS from the Greater Saharan region, and also because of Al-Qaeda. And if you look at how terrorists operate, we understand that they operate not just on a country-specific, with a country-specific strategy, they operate based on regions. So we've seen that terrorists move according to borders. And so it is important for us to understand that the strategy with Senegal is really not about the size of Senegal. I repeat, it is because Senegal shares a border with Mali. Mali shares a border with Niger, and Nigeria shares a border with Niger. And because of the troubles that we're expecting and things that are about to explode in Mali, it is important that we also have such collaborations with even nations that seem to be smaller when we look at their economy and their population, but they are significant with the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. So this week has been a good move when it comes to collaboration. In the final analysis, I would like to leave with the words of Mother Teresa, who was remembered to have said that there are things that I can do that you cannot do. And there are things that you can do that I cannot do. But together, we can do great things. And I think with this sort of collaborations, we expect that these new military chiefs, relatively new military chiefs, will be able to collaborate to give Nigeria greater things.
Definitely we'll leave it at that. Babajide Ogunsoro, data scientist and information consultant, thank you so much for your thoughts on this one. Still ahead on the news at 10, crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress in Kwara State deepens as the opening of another state secretariat generates controversy. Also, we'll tell you the story of a man who builds modern houses with laterite following high cost of cement. Join us again. The crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress in Kwara State is getting deeper, particularly with the opening of a new party secretariat by the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed. While opening the secretariat, the minister assured everyone that those yet to be registered by the national leadership of the party will be registered, noting that the scheduled ward congress in the state will not hold. But his claim has been countered by the leadership of the state legislature, who are calling for a sanction.
The crisis rocking the Kwara State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has taken a different dimension, especially between the state governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, and others. In a new twist, a new party secretariat has been opened by the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, who accused the state government of working against the registration and revalidation exercise of APC members in the state. He announced that he has been assured by the national leadership of the party for a new exercise soon.
There will be no Congress in Kwara State until and when we're all registered. And that Congress will be free and fair by the grace of God. The national chairman of the party told us that, and we believe it. So please wait for the chief to come. And when they come out in your thousands, let them know where the power lies.
In their reaction, 21 out of 24 members of the State Assembly faulted the claim of the minister.
Alhaji Lai Mohammed, as a Minister of Information, is a spokesman for the federal government, not a spokesman for All Progressive Congress at the National Secretariat, and so does not have any authority to convey to Kwaras why Kwara will not hold Congress with other sister states, with the peers in the nation.
Another lawmaker is calling for sanctions against the minister on the premise of anti-party activity.
The national body has affirmed that congresses will hold in every state. Anything to the contrary must have to come from the national. And for like that, I said, I think it has to be sanctioned by the national. Yes. That statement amounts to anti-party activity, and it should be sanctioned.
As the crisis lingers, the national leadership of the APC clearly has their job cut off for them. Political watchers believe the crisis, if not resolved, may escalate further and widen the cracks at the state chapter.
Staying with politics, Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle has sacked all his special advisors except that on security matters. In a statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Kabiru Balarabe, the sack takes immediate effect and is due to the recent defection of the governor to the All Progressives Congress from the People's Democratic Party. According to the governor, the sack is to allow for an in-depth search for more competent hands, which he insists will be done irrespective of political affiliations. Governor Matawalle defected from the PDP last week, saying that he has been nursing the plan of leaving the party for several reasons. Outside Niger, some Nigerian career professionals and business owners with Nigerian staff in the UAE, that's the United Arab Emirates, are voicing their frustrations as they are forced to face the consequences of the actions of a few. High rate of crime perpetrated by Nigerians has led the UAE government to take some measures, including suspending the issuance of work permits. Correspondent Mayowa Adegoke has details on the story.
Incredibly confused. I feel heartbroken. I feel frustrated. I feel confused. It's just, it's an overwhelming feeling. It's just like,
This is the current reality of many Nigerian youths and career professionals who are unable to obtain new work permits in the United Arab Emirates after local authorities suspended work permits. Olabisi, an Abu Dhabi-based teacher and filmmaker, is one of many law-abiding residents affected by the suspension, taken as a precautionary measure against increase in crimes linked to Nigerians.
And living in a country like this, and you continuing to thrive, you're pushing forward regardless of all the limitations of being Nigerian. You keep trying, you keep doing your best, and then these things happen and just takes you back to square one.
Illegal stay, gang violence, robbery, and prostitution are some crimes Nigerians have been jailed for in the UAE. Few weeks ago, viral videos showed the aftermath of a cultist-related altercation. Meanwhile, in Abu Dhabi, security operatives are said to be on a manhunt, as unconfirmed reports say a murder was allegedly committed by a Nigerian.
It is basically on a class of people. And this class of people, they have their record. And these are the people they are targeted, not everybody. So our only little concern is because they are giving us a bad image, nothing more.
While officials of the Nigerian embassy in Abu Dhabi say they are aware of the situation and have written the UAE government, a group of Nigerian professionals has launched an online campaign to speak against crime and promote a positive image for Nigeria in the UAE. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Mayawa Adegoke for Channels Television News.
At the time the rising cost of cement is posing a threat to affordable housing in the country, some Nigerians are already seeking alternative by exploring other available resources. Abiodun Akiemi is one of such persons, getting innovative with the use of bricks made from laterite to achieve sustainable, affordable and renewable energy-powered housing unit. Our correspondent Chris Lems reports.
Nigeria's population growth rate is estimated to be around 2.55%, a statistic that has a huge impact on the housing sector, which is experiencing a deficit of over 17 million units. In 2016, the World Bank estimated that the country required 59 trillion naira to plug the gap, at which time a bag of 50 kg cement was roughly 2,000 naira. Fast forward to 2021, the price of same commodity has almost doubled, casting doubt on the capacity of an average Nigerian to own a home. As far as building design technologist Anosike Mordecai is concerned, Nigeria must begin to seek indigenous and cultural-based technology to solving its housing problem.
In countries like Japan, where wood growth is highly encouraged, they do a lot of building with constructions with wood, such as the North American continent as well. In Africa, what do we have abundant? We have the laterite. The advantage of that stabilized earth brick is that it is not less than 5% lower when it comes to thermal comfort.
Necessity is said to be the mother of invention, and some Nigerians are already walking that talk. Abiodun Ibieme is one who explores nature using laterite to make bricks.
Bricks by nature actually have inherent benefits such as fireproof, soundproof, bulletproof, and even thermal efficiency.
The production requires less water and cement, yet far resilient and stronger than a normal concrete mastering unit or block.
Minimum strength you can have here is 10 megapascals. And if you try to check how the materials we have, or the bricks materials we have out there, you rarely read up to 2 or even 1.5 megapascal.
He says he saved about 30% of the cost of putting up this show home.
Because these bricks are actually interlocking bricks, so they basically stack into each other like the simple Lego games kids play with. So it's pretty very easy to construct with.
The house is also fully powered by natural and renewable energy sources.
Renewable means basically they are going, I mean, we specifically go off-grid. It means we're not connected to PACN, neither are we connected to the use of generator. So it's basically powered by hybrid renewable sources.
Abiodun Ibiyemi hopes government keys into this concept and replicate it across the country, which can relieve the burden on the housing sector. Looking inwards means making the most of what one has. And this is an example of someone who's decided to look inwards. And brick by brick, today, he has his dream of owning a house come true. Chris Elems, Channels Television News.
Niger has almost completed the process of complying with global standards in the procedures to start the local production of vaccines, including for COVID-19. That's according to the Director General of the National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye. Professor Adeyeye told Channels Television's Ladia Keridilwale on our current affairs program Newsnight that of the 240 requirements in the process, the country has successfully completed 210 of them. She adds that it is only through local manufacturing of essential medicines that the country can ultimately have security in public health.
What the world body is doing right now is trying to make sure that African countries have capacity to manufacture vaccines. That is what is going on as we speak. However, to be able to manufacture vaccines, NAFDAC has to be strong enough to control, to be able to control. So what is called maturity level. We've been working on this for about 3 years. Since I came, that was what I jumped into. We have over 240 requirements, quality system requirements.
240?
Yes, that we have to meet. As of a week plus ago, we have about 30 left.
That's still a lot.
It's still a lot, but as we are speaking, we are trying to, because they are coming. This is WHO, what is called ISO 9004, global benchmarking. They are coming in about 3 weeks. And we've already sent them. We just sent them everything we have from that 240.
The dossier that you mentioned earlier.
Yes, and they can go, it's a Microsoft 365 source, SharePoint. We send them the link, and they click, and keep going, 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the evidences that you have done this? You have done that. Once we get to that level, Nigeria can start manufacturing vaccines.
For the full interview with Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, do watch Newsnight tomorrow, Monday, July the 5th at 9 p.m. right here on Channels Television. Field auditors investigating the award of contracts by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, have carried out the inspection of some projects in rivers and Delta states ahead of the conclusion of their audit report. Now, the report, according to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godwill Akpabio, may be submitted to the President for implementation by the end of July. The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has been enmeshed in accusation of corruption and abandonment of projects. For the first time since President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the investigation of these allegations and the activities of the Commission from 2001 to 2019, field auditors decided to visit rivers and Delta states for an on-the-spot assessment of some projects. The team combed various communities where some of the completed and uncompleted projects are located. They include roads, electricity transformers donated to communities, and learning facilities donated to schools. Although the auditors declined to speak on camera, their presence signals the hope that the audit is on course. Their mission to rivers and Delta states receives support from their hosts.
We're going out almost every other day for the audit. And of course, like, I don't know whether you are aware, Rivers State, we have 23 local governments. And the team has been going around those local governments in batches to see how we can capture all the auditors can visit all the places they need to visit. Because the directive we have is that they must visit all the projects that are on the list.
We have done everything possible to ensure that the auditors have a quiet atmosphere to work and cooperation of every NDDC staff in the warrior office. And so far, both the security team and the field officers, they've always reported cooperation, even with the community members, even the owners of the projects. No problem at all. No threat, no nothing. Everything has been going on smoothly.
As the auditors conclude their investigation, residents of the oil-rich Niger Delta are expecting that the outcome will influence the kind of change they truly desire. In the music world, Made Kuti, the grandson of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, shows that he has come of age as he performs a 2-hour introductory concert in Lagos with his movement band. The multi-instrumentalist singer and son of multiple Grammy Awards nominee Femi Kuti stepped out of the shadows of his ancestors and held spellbound a moderate crowd of other musicians and music lovers over the weekend. He performed a good number of his own original songs while spicing the evening with a few remakes of songs from his father and grandfather. At some point, he is joined on stage by his 3-time Grammy-nominated father, Femi Kuti, as they both paid ode to Fela with the famous track, Water No Get Enemy.
By far one of my greatest experiences on stage. A lot of people here have never even heard me play. So for them to receive it so positively, that was wonderful for me. It was energy that I needed to continue the show, finish the show, evolve the show, everything. It was wonderful.
The way I brought him up is definitely not going to be my shadow or Fela's shadow. Already, you know, I experienced the thunderstorm. I experienced the tornado and everything. So he knows what to do. So like I said, he has all the attributes. And then he understands, look, when I was growing up with my father, everybody, including him, wanted me to take over. And it was just, what if I died before him? So that was my thinking. So the way I brought him up is, don't wait for your father's legacy. Don't wait to inherit your father's legacy. Start your legacy now.
President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a congratulatory message to U.S. President Joe Biden and the government and people of the United States as they commemorate the country's 245th Independence Day and the annual celebration of nationhood. In the statement by his media aide, President Buhari notes with delight how the Biden administration is working to overcome some of the country's greatest challenges that include racism and especially the coronavirus pandemic, which, according to him, has inflicted on the United States a quarter of the global fatalities. The statement adds that the president is keenly watching with great interest as the Biden administration makes progress in their efforts to improve U.S.-Africa ties and interactions for the betterment of the continent. President Buhari is also confident that the strategic partnership and engagement between Nigeria and the United States will continue to grow for the mutual benefit of the two countries and the people. At least 45 people have been killed after a military plane carrying more than 90 people crashed in the southern Philippines. Dozens of people were pulled alive from the burning wreckage. The dead are mainly military personnel, but 3 civilians on the ground were also killed. The aircraft, which overshot the runway on Jolo Island, burst into flames on crashing, sending a large black cloud into the air. While several people were injured, 5 more are still missing. Rescue teams in Japan have been pulling survivors from homes in the coastal city of Atami, overtaken by a landslide. Their work is being hampered by heavy rains. So far, they have rescued 19 people, with many more still missing after a torrent of mud swept the city on Saturday. The 2 people have been confirmed killed.
This was the scene in southwest Japan on Saturday. Heavy rain turning a scenic stream into a raging river after the area was lashed by heavy rain. One resident in the area said the tourist attraction near the Ayutsuba waterfall had disappeared completely under the rushing water. In nearby Atami City, landslides swept through houses, leaving 20 people missing. Earlier today, some 700 people from the Shizuoka Prefectural Police, firefighters and Japan military resumed their search and rescue efforts. But the operations have been interrupted repeatedly due to a risk of ground loosening and warnings of secondary damage from rain. Drone and ground footage showed collapsed and half-submerged houses as water dashed the city with mud and debris. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, who convened an emergency task force to tackle the crisis, has asked people to remain on alert. The floods are a reminder of the natural disasters, including earthquakes, volcanoes and tsunami, that plague Japan, where the capital Tokyo is set to host the Summer Olympics starting this month.
Eight players of Nigerian descent were drafted into the NBA last November, which is a record for the country. All of them have parents or a parent who is Nigerian, with the exception of Precious Achua and Udoka Azubuike, who were born in Nigeria. This report takes a look at how they fared in the rookie seasons.
Isaac Okoro, the highest drafted Nigerian at number 5 by the Cleveland Cavaliers, played 67 games for the Cavs. His impressive rookie season culminated in a career-high 32 points against the Phoenix Suns.
It was just me being more aggressive tonight, just looking to attack the paint, get to the lane, and get to the free throw line. And, you know, I love that. I mean, that's what I've wanted all along. So, I mean, just being able to play out of pick and roll, you know, and distribute to my teammates and also still attack the big, I feel like I'm good at that.
The Tigers forward Jordan Mora also had a decent rookie campaign and cracked the 30-point mark while averaging 5.7 points over 30 games.
I think my mindset has just kind of been the same in terms of just staying ready, and you know, when I get my chances or opportunities, just make the most of them. No, I'm a rookie, I got to prove myself whenever I get a chance.
Precious Achua, who was born in Nigeria, featured in 61 games for the Miami Heat and had a breakout game with 23 points and 10 rebounds against the Detroit Pistons.
The more games that I play, the more comfortable I get with the, you know, with the system of play and players and all, you know, stuff like that. So it's just a continuous process, you know, just watching film and just playing in the game.
Despite injury hampering his start, number 6 overall pick Onyeka Okongwu still managed to play 50 games, majorly coming off the Atlanta Hawks bench.
Overall, just being able to be more aggressive, be more confident, getting used to playing with my teammates, you know, coming into this year. New coach, new teammates, no one really knew how I played.
Zeke Naji, Udoka Azubuike, Desmond Bain, and Daniel Oturu all sparingly played for their clubs, but this is largely expected for most rookies.
And when you talk about rookie time, coming to NBA for the first time, you got to be up there. It's not easy because of the old boys already established. They don't want to use those young boys. Give them a chance. That's thing that surprised me was Okoro doing fine. Yes, Achuma is also doing good.
The 2021-22 NBA season is just around the corner, and these youngsters will surely get the chance to improve their game during training camp and perhaps develop into future stars of the league.
In tennis, Wimbledon will have capacity crowds from the singles quarterfinals onwards as COVID-19 restrictions on attendances are relaxed. Attendances have been capped at 50% since the start of the tournament last Monday, although next weekend's finals were to rise to 100% on the 15,000 capacity center court. After a successful opening week, the championships have now been given permission to operate at full capacity from Tuesday's women's quarters on center court and number 1 court. Wimbledon is being used as a pilot event for the safe return of crowds as part of the government's events research program. And the main news again. At least 5 persons were confirmed killed and several others injured today after a tanker laden with domestic gas lost control at the popular Bode Herbs Market in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Also today, police authorities in Lagos State paraded 49 Yoruba Nation agitators arrested at the rally ground yesterday. The police also said a girl that was allegedly hit by a stray bullet was not shot by its officers. And that's the news at 10. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun from all of us here. It's good night and stay safe.